I went into the quarter with all hula hoops. I was like, I've lived here, because that's not how I busk in New Orleans. But I grabbed my housemate who plays the accordion. I was like, let's do this. We gotta go make some money. And I just had all my hoops. And the copper guy, one of the copper guys, the statue guys, and they cover the sums of the paint, so it's kind of bottom of the barrel, right? And he's like, hula hoop lady. I'm like, and he's like, no, I'm your friend. I'm like, and he's like, no, you picked me up hitchhiking. It was Rick. Driving through Mississippi on Route 59. Good smoke, good music, by myself, I'm feeling fine. Going south for the winter no more. While I roam, I'm going to New Orleans, I'm almost home. In the left lane going 70 with the warm wind at my back. To the right I spied a hitchhiker with a great big pack. Well, he was kind of old and kind of white and generally kind of nondescript. But in his day-glow orange windbreaker, he was impossible to miss. Of course, my mother always told me never pick up a hitchhiker. We're similar in some respects, but in many I'm not like her. Been out there with my thumb in the air, waiting on the kindness of a stranger. Though I don't know why sometimes it seems compassion walks with danger. So I pulled off to the side. Of course, he wanted a ride. He asked if I could drop him in Jackson Square. I said, mister, I'll take you there. Rhythm restored, peace untainted, time for us to get acquainted. Well, his name was Rick, he was 47 and he hailed from Kansas City. Worry about prospect of finding work after a recent spell in the penitentiary. I said penitentiary. Leavenworth, said he. I said, from what you're telling me, I know it was a felony. You ever raped anybody, mister? You're getting out here. He said, have no fear. I did my 14 year, I gassed my jaw all a flapping. He said, I did my crime, I did my time. His crime, it was kidnapping. Well, I wished I had a tape recorder so I could relate in the right order the story Rick recounted to me. 2, 3, Rick was a Sunday school teacher. Wife Suzanne sang with the preacher in the Baptist choir. Oh, Rick, he did some carpentry. Miss had a master's in music theory. Coming on a 5-year anniversary. Trying to act like Samaritans to make ends meet. So when his troubled young man came into Rick's life, Rick introduced George to the church. Rick introduced George to his wife. George received the Lord. George saw the light. George told Rick that Rick was right and let the water wash away his sins. So maybe it wasn't for sin and maybe it was just for fun. Sheriff only saw it one way when George stole himself a gun. Sheriff locked George up, called him a clown, said you fun instead of a gun. You laugh now, I'll make you cry later. But Rick interceded, he begged and he pleaded on young George's behalf. Thanks to Rick's high recommendation, young George was released on probation. Went home with Rick and Sue in one more chance. And all too soon, scurrilous rumors blossom of a new romance. Now between Rick and Suzanne, things weren't perfect, but hey, you know they were all right. Sure they fought, but not alive. They never drew blood during a fight. Everything was just taking its course. Nobody mentioned the word divorce. But it worked, the guys were fun until an old Rick goes swooping and running. Seen her running around with someone new. What could Rick do? He let them laugh. But one day work get louder, and after stopping for a beer or two, Rick arrived at home, found young George, bed with Rick's wife Sue. What could he do? What would you do? Well, he was homicidal, he was suicidal, he had a buzz on, he had a gun. It was kind of tragic, Rick was psychopathic, but to the violence he did not succumb. Now, he made George get up, he made George get out of my wife's bed. He made George get in a car crying with a gun pointed at his head. And he drove him out of Missouri into Illinois. 4 hours there, 4 hours back, but he never laid a hand on that boy. Now when you cross state lines, the law defines the crime as more severe. So when George pressed charges, judge sentenced Rick to 14 years. Now somewhere in there was another crime against humanity. Laura told Rick if he just shot George, he'd have got off on temporary insanity. Well, Rick made peace with his life, forgave his wife Suzanne, he couldn't hate her. Saved her for some inexplicable reason, it's just how the good Lord made her. But he got a tattoo in prison ink blue, so he'd never forget, though it's sad that it's true. Tattoo on his left inside wrist where it said, laugh now, cry later. Laugh now, cry later. Must be fater, something worse, some kind of cursed destiny. Tragic comedy, might as well laugh now, 'cause you too will cry later. Well, we got to the corner, I pulled off to the corner. Said, Rick, one thing I never did say yet. You're the nicest kidnapper I ever met. And he laughed. And I hope sometime I'll look him in the eye while I'm singing this song on Decatur. Laugh now, cry later. Must be fatal, something worse, some kind of cursed destiny.